Yo, it's your boy Logos, and today I want to react to another Tom Sowell clip. This time him discussing people who hate the West but don't want to leave it. And this reminded me of the Donald Trump election and all the people on Twitter and other social media apps saying they were going to leave this country and be Canadian or European citizen now if Donald Trump got elected. Unfortunately, a lot of those people are still here and they're still bitching and moaning about him, but they're usually doing it on Twitter. Let's keep them to Twitter because honestly, we all know Twitter is a cesspool of idiots and bullshit. So it's best to just stay away from it unless you're using it for some type of business purposes. But I'm curious to see what Thomas Sowell got to say. Oh yeah, this also reminded me of that Jill Scott video that I did where she talked shit about the national anthem and came up with her own version talking about the land of the slave and all the other nonsense. She hates America so much and all this other BS she talks about, but she still want to live here, still take American money with American faces on it. But let's get into it.
Many highly costly laws, policies, or devices designed to safeguard the public from lethal hazards are defended on grounds that, if it saves just one human life, it is worth whatever it costs.
Idiot.
Powerful as the moral and emotional appeal of such pronouncements may be, they cannot withstand scrutiny in a world where scarce resources have alternative uses. One of those alternative uses is saving other human lives in other ways. Few things have saved as many lives as the simple growth of wealth. An earthquake powerful enough to kill a dozen people in California will kill hundreds of people in some less affluent country and thousands in a third world nation. Greater wealth enables California buildings, bridges, and other structures to be built to withstand far greater stresses than similar structures can withstand in poorer countries. Those injured in an earthquake in California can be rushed far more quickly to far more elaborately equipped hospitals with larger numbers of more highly trained medical personnel. This is just one of innumerable ways in which wealth saves lives.
Think about the fact that my generation, and I would say previous generations too, excuse me, at least, after Vietnam War and such and so forth, we haven't had to deal with like a very, very major war. At least since like World War II. We've had like, minor conflicts or proxy wars or, the stuff in the Middle East, but you never had conscription. You never had stuff where like people had the whole neighborhoods of young boys or young men going off to war and losing generations and generations of young men behind bullets, explosives, and artillery. I'm just saying about World War One, the Great War, and all the men that just lost their lives, all their dreams, hopes, everything, their families, their wives, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers, their uncles, such and so forth. All of them have to deal with that trauma of having their family member or lover not being around anymore. But us in the West don't have to deal with that stuff. We don't have to deal with the stuff in the Middle East with, no electricity sometimes, or warfare, civil war. We're just ungrateful. Well, these people are ungrateful.
Natural disasters of all sorts occur in rich and poor countries alike. The United States leads the world in tornadoes, for example. But their consequences are very different. The Swiss reinsurance company reported that the biggest financial costs of natural disasters in 2003 were in the United States, Canada, and France. But that same year, the biggest costs of natural disasters in human lives were all in third world countries:
Mm-hmm.
Iran, Algeria, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. Given the high cost of medical care and of such preventive measures against disease as water treatment plants and sewage disposal systems, third world countries likewise suffer far more from diseases, including diseases that have been virtually wiped out in affluent countries. The net result is shorter lifespans in poorer countries.
Not to mention the fact that they don't probably get the same amount of nutrition or the same access to food that we have, so that lets them be more susceptible to disease or weaker immune system. And unfortunately, they die a lot younger. And that's part of the reason why they have to have so many children, like you can see right here in the back. That also, not having, birth control and medical care and stuff like that, but also part of the reason why is a lot of these children die young, like it used to be in the medieval times for everybody all across the whole world, not just, third world countries.
There have been various calculations of how much of a rise in national income saves how many lives. Whatever the correct figure may be, X million dollars to save one life, Anything that prevents national income from rising that much has, in effect, cost a life. If some particular safety law, policy, or device costs 5x million dollars, either directly or by its inhibiting effect on economic growth, then it can no longer be said to be worth it if it saves just one human life, because it does so at the cost of 5 other human lives. There is no escaping trade-offs, so long as resources are scarce and have alternative uses. More is involved than saving lives in alternative ways. There is also the question of how much life is being saved and at how much cost. Some might say that there is no limit on how much value should be placed on a human life. But, however noble such words may sound, in the real world no one would favor spending half the annual output of a nation to keep one person alive 30 seconds longer.
Exactly.
Yet that would be the logical implication of a claim that a life is of infinite value. When we look beyond words to behavior, people do not behave as if they regard even their own lives as being of infinite value. For example, people take life-threatening jobs as test pilots or explosives experts when such jobs pay a high enough salary for them to feel compensated for the risk. They even risk their lives for purely recreational purposes, such as skydiving, whitewater rafting, or mountain climbing.
I love what Thomas Sowell said at the end about life is about trade-offs and you just can't have everything that you want. It reminds me of what Kevin Samuels would used to say about relationships, especially when we'll talk about women and they want like such and so forth type of things in their man. You just can't have it all. And what he said at the end about people risking their lives for higher pay is just true. And that's part of the reason why that a lot of men make a lot more money compared to women. It's nothing about the patriarchy or oppression. Guys are much more willing, excuse me, guys are much more willing to put themselves in dangerous situations for money. You could be somebody working on oil. You could be underwater diver that work on the pipes, working with the oil. Like there's so many different things. You could be a coal miner. So many of these dangerous, hard jobs in the sun or in extreme conditions are worked by men, and they deserve to be compensated for that. But overall, like I really don't understand people who claim they hate America so much, even if what you can say about the past, but you still continue to live here. I'm not really basing my current day livelihood based on the past. I study the past every single day. I love history, especially military history. So I'm not like unaware of the stuff of America or all these other countries across the whole world. It just seems to me like these people really have this idea that the stuff that goes on in America is just, special or unique to America. And it hasn't existed before until America existed. And for some reason, they rather hate America than being appreciative of the fact they are born in America in the era where there is no widespread war, there is no slavery, there is no other stuff, like, negative stuff that can hold you back like there was in the past. I'd just rather be appreciative of that instead of being angry about stuff that didn't happen to me. Maybe it's because I say like ancient stuff, so I know how hard those people live. I know how short the lifespan it was in medieval times, ancient times, even more recent times. So I'm just appreciative of the fact that I don't have to go through that type of stuff. But I don't know, maybe other people don't feel that way. I'm curious to see what other people think. I'm not the type of person I think you should just take whatever the government does to you and not do anything about it because I don't want tyranny, don't want corruption. That's part of the reason why this podcast, this YouTube channel does exist to talk about it and be against it. But at the same time, I'm not going to go on the other side of the pendulum and want a complete reset. It just sounds ridiculous to me. Root out corruption because no matter what system you do have, what country you do have, no matter what people you have around you, there's going to be some type of, I don't know, stuff afoot that you need to watch out for. And that can't be helped. You can only protect yourself from it. Well, let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's your boy Logos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.